to welcome everybody back to Board Game Closet for another episode of our reviews. We're today reviewing Shadows over Camelot. Initially, this is a game that I looked forward to purchasing. Just for some reason, it kind of fallen through the cracks, and I finally got to purchase it. I was very excited about the game. Well, let's let Tim go ahead and talk about some of the little bit of the gameplay, and then we're going to kind of go into just the miniatures and that type of thing.
So here I'll talk about the instructions, and this is actually the rule book. And this is the book of quests. This game, when you first look at it, it looks pretty cool. It looks like a lot of games where they have the quest and the story set up in a whole separate book, kind of like Mansions of Madness. And it's got a rule book set up for the basic gameplay that you're going to use for each one of the quests. So at first glance, this looks pretty cool. Great artwork. It looks like it's really going to get you into the game. The rulebook is laid out all right to where you could learn how to play the game easy enough, but you will be constantly referring to the rulebook about everything because each different quest on the board has its own rule set, has its own gameplay, has its own victory conditions and stuff. So each knight that plays, which is a player, is going to go to the quest and play from there. So each person could possibly be playing a whole different kind of game as they go through.
So there's a bunch of mini games involved, and each adventure is its own mini game, which initially was something I thought was great. I thought that could be pretty neat, really pull you into the game and that type of thing. So like what he's saying is that there's so many mini games involved that you will have to be referring to the rules a lot on at the beginning. But then they're fairly simple after you get used to them.
Yeah, after the first couple games that you play this, you probably won't be referring back on each one individuals because there's not that much variety in the different games that you play.
Right.
And at first you think you just look at the board, it looks pretty.
It looks real good.
In fact, I'll pick it up here so you guys can see it. This is what it looks like. It's got everything separated out. This is your castle of Camelot. This is where the catapults go. This is basically your timer for them sieging Camelot. And then you have your different sections for quests. You also have the Holy Grail. I don't know what you call it, but it's part of the board for the Holy Grail. It all looks beautiful.
Well, the pieces are great. I mean, when you look at the miniatures, I mean, you got the small catapults, and then you have each individual knight is different looking. You know, they've just got a little bit of everything involved. All the Arthurian legend they kind of covered well with the artwork, with the miniatures, using the naming on the cards. It's very very well done, and and that's one thing. This is Games of Wonder, so it's it's a great company who produces some nice looking games, and this follows their tradition of nice looking games. I mean, the pieces are very nice.
There's a lot of detail to each one of these miniatures. I'm pretty surprised because they have because a lot of times the plastic gets kind of flimsy, but this seems to be doing pretty well, and I mean, just these relic pieces,
right?
Have a nice design to them.
And the thing is kind of going back to this because we are gonna, you'll see where we're going with this. But the, when it comes to Arthurian story and I mean the history and everything is fantastic. I love that stuff. Knights in shining armor, and that's the stuff I remember as a kid just watching those movies and just enjoying them and wanting to play board games and of course playing from Pathfinder, Dungeons and Dragons, and so on. I just love the knights in shining armor. So this is a game that really did hook me. And I guess the thing is that when we started playing it, the farther I went into each one. I guess each game, I don't want to say game piece, but each adventure quest, yeah, it tended to kind of kill my feelings on the game. I never felt like I was going into the game like I was really going into the King Arthur times. Other than, of course, like we said, the artwork and the miniatures are fine, but why we do certain things on the game board and how we're playing these games is, it just doesn't feel like it.
A lot of the stuff feels like either like you're playing a hand of poker,
Dice.
which literally is like, I think the Black Knight, the quest is basically just you're just trying to play poker, or one of those similar gambling games, or it's a dice roll or something. You're never like, it never described it like you're pitted up against the Black Knight, whatever, in a joust or anything. It never lays it out like that. It's simply, you get 2 pairs, it's got to beat his 2 pairs or whatever, so that your value has to be higher than his value. So when you get down to the actual part, it sounds like you're describing a gambling game or something like that, instead of describing, a battle. So it just completely takes you out of the game.
And we don't like to be negative on games. I mean, the game itself, the first couple times we played it was fine, but quite honestly, at this point, there's so much more out there. And I know that this is an older game too, but it does have expansions and stuff. So a lot of people love this game. So we'll probably hear a lot of negative responses about it, which is okay. I mean, that's we're just putting our own opinion into the game. But like I said, the miniatures are great. The board's great. It looks great.
Yeah.
The gameplay itself just falls short for me.
So let's start and go ahead and go into our game review.
So we'll go ahead and do our game review, and that, of course, is us by either having a green die saying that we would buy the game or buy it again if we didn't have it. White die, which would be that if the game were on the table with some friends, sure, I'm going to play it. And then, of course, there's the dreaded red die, which means I wouldn't pick the game up again.
I wouldn't even play it if it was on the table.
And so we'll go ahead and put our hands out with our die, and we'll reveal. And I think that there's no surprise on this one.
Yeah.
That we're all reds on this one, and
definitely wouldn't even ever play this game again.
I wanted to like it a lot. It just didn't fit. That's a shame. All right.
Thanks for joining us for our review here on Board Game Closet. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and our webpage, boardgamecloset.com.
All right. Goodbye. See you next time.
You can edit that out.